Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, another film deep dive on another newcomer for this Michigan defense through the transfer portal and former safety from Tennessee, Wesley Walker, who we talked about it when he committed to Michigan. And then you dive into the film over the last couple of days, brings a really diverse skill set to this Michigan defense heading into 2024. And I think it starts with just the sheer experience he has at the Power 5 level. And Dill, I was kind of looking at some numbers over the last couple of days. I struggled to find a safety that has played as much football as Wesley Walker. Over 2,200 snaps during his college football career, going into his 6th year of college football, all of which has been at the Power 5 level. Wesley Walker not only brings a ton of experience, but some versatility as well, having played nickelback at his previous stop at Georgia Tech. Want to get into two different things. One, what Wesley Walker brings to this Michigan defense, but I think more importantly, why Wink Martindale went out of his way to go grab Wesley Walker, because I think we both think he's a perfect fit in terms of what Wink Martindale wants to do on the defensive side of the football. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and to the Michigan fans. It's truly been a blast doing these film deep dives on a lot of these newcomers, and the amount of support you guys have shown the boys, it truly does mean a lot. Many of y'all know we are massive Michigan fans, not a program we love talking more about than our Michigan Wolverines. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And Dale, I'll give you the T-box here. You were not only a big fan of Wesley Walker, but just a big fan of that Tennessee defense in 2023. What's Wesley Walker bring to the table for this Michigan program?
Yeah, I think that big thing you talk about, just experience and more experience, at a lot of different spots in that secondary. Probably the only one he really hasn't played is that boundary corner. And I frankly think that's going to allow him to carve out a niche in this Michigan defense. Because if I'm looking at projecting the starting 4 or 5, I'm not sure he's going to be in that every down starter role. But I think, again, his ability to play a variety of different roles, allow Wink Martindale to use him in pre-snap disguises, I think that'll allow him to, again, just carve something out. And especially with those Pac-12 schools coming into the Big Ten and having more of an open system, I think he will be able to be used in different ways, whether that's probably not going to be that day one starter, but I think he's going to carve out something.
And I think it's important to know, a lot of people like to put the tag, are you a quote-unquote starter for a college football program? You go back to Michigan last year, we had 4 safeties that played over 350 snaps in 2023. Obviously, Rod Moore, Makari Page, quote unquote, being your day one starters. Though Keon Sabb, I think, had the highest snap count of any safety for Michigan in the national championship game against the Washington Huskies. Quentin Johnson had some massive plays for Michigan, game-changing plays for Michigan in 2023 as well. And you talk about what the beauty of that Michigan defense was in 2023. It was the depth, it was the versatility that we had. And I think Wesley Walker, no doubt in my mind, certainly adds to that. And you get into, all right, why did Wink Martindale go out and get Wesley Walker? It's because of what he can do around the line of scrimmage. And I think it starts in the run game. And you take a look at, again, what made Michigan's defense so special in 2023. Those second-level defenders, those guys in the secondary, were exceptional about being present in the run game. Not only were they phenomenal in coverage, getting hands on a lot of football, it's guys like Rod Moore, Makari Page, Mikey Sandstrill, very, very big influence in the run game. And you dive into the film and you say, that reminds me a lot about Wesley Walker. And you make no mistake, Wink Martindale wants to put his guys by the line of scrimmage, confusing opposing offenses. Wesley Walker can do that, and he can be a factor in the run game. Take a look at this play against Missouri here. I'm going to get a stretch to the outside here. Wesley Walker right here, identifying it very quickly. It's very clear he's played a lot of football during his time at Tennessee and Georgia Tech, firing downhill, meeting the running back at the line of scrimmage, making a play. Wesley Walker, in terms of having that athletic coverage ability, but also being a factor in the run game, it's going to be a massive asset for this Michigan defense.
Yeah, and again, that's going to be an important part of it. Like, in certain down and distances, can he be on the field? Can he sub in for a linebacker spot? And again, match some of that production in the run game, be able to play physical, make tackles, avoid blocks, kind of have that sense of fitting holes really well, but also being able to cover. And again, I think that will be the key to him finding his role on this Michigan Wolverines.
Working through that traffic at the safety position, it's not something you see a lot of safeties comfortably do, right? Whether it's taking bad angles, whether it's filling the wrong hole, not fitting up run plays, you see a lot of safeties struggle with that. Wesley Walker, with all that experience, he takes good angles, he makes his good run fits. That's something that I think was really coveted for Wink Martindale. Now, you get into some more of the film and you start to really appreciate what Wesley Walker does as kind of just a box defender, getting out to the flat, closing. Talk about another thing that made Michigan's defense special. We talk about this a lot. I mean, Michigan's defensive backs did not give much up after the catch. They tackled very well. They closed on the football. Wesley Walker, I mean, does a lot of those things as well. You fire up this piece of film, you're going to see Cody Schrader, leak out to the flat here. And this is two things to know. One, Cody Schrader, a phenomenal pass-catching running back. More importantly, just a really good running back. You see Wesley Walker working here in kind of that box role. Hey, I'm going to see what's happening in front of me. I'm going to close extremely quickly on a very good running back in Cody Schrader. I'm going to come up, set my feet, and make a tackle. I'm one of the better SEC running backs you see in the country. And you see it again on this play, right? Wesley Walker seeing Xavier Legette come into motion. 4th and 2. Early in the second quarter, this is a massive play for Tennessee. Wesley Walker seeing Xavier Legette leak out to the flat, immediately clicking and closing. And again, we take this for granted, making this tackle. Xavier Legette was one of the best wide receivers after the catch you saw in the country, just went first round in the NFL draft. Wesley Walker clicking and closing, making a play, letting his team get off the field on 4th down. Talk about game-changing plays. Those are some of those plays, and that's kind of what Wesley Walker brings to this Michigan defense.
And that's one element that really allows him to play in man coverage at a high level is, again, being able to close on guys and make tackles, because those are kind of those things. Like, you don't necessarily always need to be able to deflect passes or break it up. You need to be able to tackle, though. Those can't become big plays. Being able to recognize that route quickly, diagnose it, get down and make the tackle. Again, things that I think you kind of think when you think Mike Sanders still, that's exactly what I think. I think those Washington games where, again, making tackles around the line of scrimmage, Washington, certainly a team that likes to use, again, long run motions across the middle to try to get guys open and use them to run after the catch. Mike Sanders still being able to close. You obviously see some of that with Wesley Walker, and I think that's, again, be an important role of what Michigan's going to want him to do.
Taking a look at the last play here, just holding up in man coverage. And this is exactly what you need. It's a massive asset for Wink Martindale because you look at how Wink Martindale wants to run his defense. He wants to send a lot of pressure. And when you're sending pressure, you have to ask your safeties to hold up in man coverage. That's just how it works. It's a numbers game. Take a look at this matchup. Tavion Robinson. Devin Leary is going to see Tavion Robinson the whole way because, hey, if I'm getting Tavion Robinson, my star slot receiver, in man coverage on a safety on 2nd and 9, that is exactly where I'm going with the football. And quite frankly, I don't blame Devin Leary for staring down Tavion Robinson here. But what stands out to me, Wesley Walker, sitting in the hip pocket of Tavion Robinson, if you consistently make quarterbacks throw to those kind of windows, you're going to play a lot of winning football. Wesley Walker's ability to hold up in man coverage as that safety, I think that's another massive asset. And you start talking about what this Michigan secondary is going to look like. And we kind of noted at the top, I don't know if Wesley Walker is going to be a day one, quote unquote, starter for Michigan. But when you have a safety that can play man coverage and say that's what is in the game plan for that coming Saturday, you might see a little bit more Wesley Walker and see a little bit less Jaden Mangum. And then on the next one, when you want to play with that deep free safety, that rangy ball hawking free safety, you might see a little bit more of Jaden Mangum and a little bit of Wesley Walker. Something that really stood out when you dive into Wesley Walker is I think he really does a good job balancing out what Jaden Mangum does really well, because the things that Jaden Mangum does really well, Wesley Walker, maybe not a strong suit, but the stuff that you haven't really seen Jaden Mangum do, Wesley Walker shows that all over the film over the last couple of years.
And I think that's a good point in general. It's just the idea of a starter in college football and football in general is kind of going by the wayside to an extent with teams being able to or wanting to run so many different packages. I feel like all I hear from defensive coordinators now in their interviews, we want to be multiple, we want to be multiple. But you hear it over and over and over, and that kind of gets into that, well, is this guy a starter? Well, he's a starter in this package. He's not a player in this package. It is getting convoluted again. I think Wesley Walker's versatility will certainly allow him to be part of this Michigan, or a big part of this Michigan defense, I should say, whether that's being a starter, who even knows what that means anymore. I think he's going to play a lot of football just because, again, he can do a lot of different things.
I think, of course, he's going to play a lot of football. This is his last year of eligibility. He wouldn't be transferring to Michigan if he didn't think he was going to have a significant role in this Michigan defense. Another really good addition for Sharon Moore and this Michigan program. Well, we got one more transfer to do a film deep dive on. Fired up to get into it. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.